Hello, everyone. We had a lovely invite into Peter's home, and we're looking now at the Gary Brooker fly tying cabinet, which we've spoken of a lot over the past couple of videos. And I just thought it'd be interesting for Peter to have a chat about your background with Gary and the sort of fishing adventures you've been up to. Now we're on take 11 here, because the first 10 takes we can't actually produce them. It's been a scream. So we're over to you. Can you give us some background as to your fishing relationship with Gary Brooker?
Yeah, well, as you know, he's a very famous man, amazing musician, and you know the Procol Harum story.
Yeah.
So this is one of our little treasures because it's all part of Gary. But somehow we became friends through fly fishing and whatever. I don't quite know how, but he ran a club at his home, which was called the Wintershall Rod and Gun Society, or WRAGS, RAGS.
All right.
And somehow I got into that little club with him, and it really evolved in many evenings into fly tying.
Right.
And then I was at that time developing a syndicate fishery in Surrey, and Gary became one of our founder members and stayed with me for the 34 years that we ran the place.
Wow.
But very often we just end up fly tying and things like that of an evening, and it was all revolving around this silly fishing thing, whereas, you know, he had this other amazing life touring the world, and sometimes I wouldn't see him for ages. Then he'd come back and we'd do a bit more tying and things. But we also got involved in somehow into competition fishing, and went to France a couple of times to fish a European Open.
Oh.
And one year we were all doing quite well, and we won the team event. So we're coming away from France with this gigantic
Oh, wow.
trophy.
Let me just pull into that. Wow.
So
what was that for?
it's the European Open, the team event in 1986.
Amazing.
So, you know, he was pretty good at most things.
Yes.
And it was that same year that he said to me, Pete, do you want to come out to Oregon? Well, I'd never been anywhere in my life, of consequence. I'm Cornish, I don't go places.
Salty dog.
And so, well, yeah, okay. So out we went, met with a friend of his called Jim Teeney, who's a very, very famous fly fisherman.
Yeah, I know Jim, yeah.
Yeah. And Jim and I hit it off instantly, and we did fishing trips there and whatever, and that led on to going to Alaska the next year with Gary, and so it went, which was a sort of a bit of a crazy world, really. So I blame a lot of things on him. And then for other inexplicable reasons, we decided we would open a fishing shop in Godalming in Surrey, and it was called Cockwill and Brooker. And that we did too, and that evolved onto me eventually having the shop over in Albury in Surrey, and it was called Albury Game Angling, and it was just fly fishing stuff. But you know, we were friends for all these years, revolving around fly tying, and the times I've sat beside this cabinet with him creating stuff, but he always reverted back to tying his favourite fly. There's one in the vice, and it's here now in my finger.
All right, let me just come forward. Now, your challenge, of course, is to remember the name of it, because the first 9 takes, we both got it wrong.
Right.
So what is that called?
It's the Martinez.
The Martinez.
And it's a nymph.
All right.
Fairly simple. Black seals fur,
Yep.
greenback, partridge, and a bit of guinea fowl.
So do you reckon that would work in Deaver then, with those colours?
Yeah.
Would it?
Worked anywhere. I mean, Gary just used to use it and catch fish. And that was his fly. And in my syndicate book, if you saw Gary's name, it was the Martinez against it. Whether
Right.
it was true or not, I don't know, but that's what he put down.
Right.
And it worked for him wherever we fished. And it's just one of those fun things to do, to remember that, you know, these flies do work.
Yes.
And on his last day of fishing, which was on the test on a beat which is owned by Eric Clapton, who very, very kindly let us fish there for the day. Eric, he's a very keen fisherman, as you know.
Yeah.
And Gary got his last ever trout on the Martinez.
Oh, wow. What story. See, most of us, 99% of us, wouldn't know anything to do with the background of that story. That's why it's important. I wanted to chat to you about it, because you knew him as a friend more than just a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a rock star yourself. People often refer to you as a rock star, but it's just great to be able to look into the background and history of this. So, what about the contents of the cabinet then?
Well, there's all sorts of stuff in here, as you can imagine. This is a Weaver vice, which is a
Yeah.
simple lever vice, but I mean, I've got one as well, and it's
Yes.
just a great thing. But there's lots of
If we
Pearson's.
just look in there a little bit, excuse me, just shaking and wobbling here.
There's lots of Pearson's tying threads and
All right,
silks
yeah.
in here, which aren't easy to obtain nowadays.
No.
And then just a general selection of tools and feathers and fur, which all of us fly tyers accumulate,
Of course.
often for no good reason other than that it looks quite pretty.
Yes. Well, the cabinet itself is outstanding. I know it weighs a ton because I've just carried it out from the
Well, I
car.
was looking just now. I mean, is there a heap of lead wire in here? But no, it's just an extremely heavy cabinet.
Yes.
Very well made.
That's great. Well, thanks for the info in the background to this. You know, to me it's very special, as you know, only because because of my history listening to his music. For you it's very special as a friend. So as we've said earlier in the videos, we're going to put this for sale with Thomas Turner in a couple of days after this video is launched. It's going to go on at a fixed price. All the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, are going to go back to Frankie Brooker, who will send it on to the charitable institution that she feels is fit. And I believe it's going to a hospital where Gary was well looked after. So when you see the video, enjoy it. Look out for the listing on Thomas Turner. There's one-off opportunity. It's buy it or miss it. So please, I hope it goes to a great home where the history really can be continued and you tie a few flies. Now, what was the name of that fly again?
Martinez.
On that note, we're going to close down. See you, folks.